Good morning. Welcome to Options Tender. It's Monday, October 14th, 2024. So we're going to go through, we're going to jump around on SPX, SPY, QQQ, and probably go around the horn if we have enough time on the VIX, SMH IWM as typical, but I want to show a couple different indicators, and this might be a little bit lengthier video. So I do recommend that you turn up the speed to 1.25 or 1.5 if you're limited on time. I want to cover kind of like the big picture and some of these indicators that show the breadth of the market and why I think that this move is done. Now, I know that Friday called top. Today, you got to move to the upside. I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think it's going to last. The Qs are trying to reverse now, and IWM is doing its rotation. So I think we get a reversal candle here, and we're looking for some downsides. I didn't take off any of my positions. I only added. And so my money's where my mouth is. So here we go. By the way, we're doing this intraday about 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're interested in getting these videos intraday, consider becoming a YouTube support member. It's like 99 cents. There is a Patreon out there if you're interested in just contributing and getting trade alerts, but YouTube is my kind of main source for membership. Okay, SPX. We're starting off with this one because I have a couple different drawings set up. So SPX has a lot more information in the past. So we don't go back to the 1800s, but we do have the 1930 29 crash. So we have our major trend line that we're at here and now. So on this time frame, of course, price can throw over on any time frame, but this is such a major area. That's why we're shorting this pretty intensely. I do think we get a large correction, some sort of major correction. Okay, and if so here's that confluence here with the top of the trend line. We have a couple channels going on here, and at minimum we're looking for 50-60% move. So that could just be an initial move. This could be some sort of triangle. This could be a zigzag. There's all sorts of, this could be a big flat again. But seeing how we're kind of counting this as a 1-2 here, we might have another 1-2 back before this time. But I think this fits well with a 2000 and a 2008 top being a flat pattern for 3 and 4. And now we're in wave 5 here. So this wave 5, I think, could end up being a zigzag and making this a wave 1 coming out of this huge correction. I think this move is over, and I think this could end up being a 1-2 setup. So with that being said, when we get our correction, this could be a sharp move, a 5-3-5 into 50, 60, and even 7-8-6 type move here. And we'd consider that a back test of this breakout. Okay, so that's pretty traumatic. That's about 1700. It could be at the 2600. So how will we know? You know, price will get down to these if and when they get to these levels. We'll have to play it just like we do to the upside, like we've been doing. If price gets underneath and can't get back above, then the next stop goes to 786, for example. So we're just looking at the big picture here, and I do think this is going to end up being ultimately a wave 1, and that we're looking for a large correction that could happen. 18 months is typical. Could be shorter, could be longer. Wave 2. So this is kind of what we're expecting, a 5-3-5. But if this is an impulse and we have a 5 wave, perhaps, something else is occurring. It could be a larger correction that could correct a higher time frame. This could be a sideways move. Again, it could be another flat pattern. Lots of different choices. So if we get a 5-wave move and we think it's a 5-wave move, it could be a 5. It could be very similar to here, a flat pattern. This would be a 3, 3, 5. But yeah, I mean, you could count it as a 5. There's different ways. So you see what I'm saying? It's if you're counting, it's very speculative. Elliott wave. Both, we do suspect it's a 5, a larger 5. Maybe it's a larger zigzag. There's all sorts of things, but we're looking for a deep correction to start off. All right, we have the D mark. We have 9 count exhaustion, went higher here. 9 count exhaustion, went higher. Still possible. 9 count correction. 9 count correction. We're at a 9 count. Again, went higher, and I think this is about done. I'll have to adjust these lines as price shows us more information. Let's go to SPY. Again, we have our D mark. Let's see where we're at on Bollinger Bands. Riding the top of the Bollinger Band. And not showing much there. Just you can kind of tell that this is a wedge. It's forming a wedge here. The candle's getting smaller. And then here, we just want to show that we have negative divergence. High, lower high. And we thought that would have been the lower high here, but now we're just making a lower high here. Negative divergence. We're just about at even peak here, but that's still a divergence. Negative divergence on the monthly time frame. That's massive. We're not showing anything on the. We're just getting real tight in price action here. When that happens, look at that. Price action stays up here for a while, stays up here, and what happens? You get a breakdown, and then price breaks down with it. Real tight here, and then price breaks down. That's what we're looking at here. This is ready to break down. Hasn't confirmed yet until we get the sell under 20, negative 20. But on a monthly time frame, by then, price will be heading lower at that point. All right. Let's go to the weekly. On the weekly time frame, we're looking at this as being some sort of potential channel. We're at the top of the channel. I say potential because there's only one touch here, and I do think we will test the bottom of this channel. And we'll see what happens when we get there. We have our oscillators here. Again, weekly time frame. High, lower high, lower high. As we speak, negative divergence. RSI, lower high. Again, lower high. Negative divergence on the weekly time frame. Reversal pattern, same thing, getting tight up here. We'll look for the sell signal. Nothing yet. D-mark. Nothing to see here. You got that 13 count. Just kind of rising here. Got a 9 right there. Exhaustion. Let's go to the daily. In the daily time frame, let's go over to first the SPX. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to show you the summation, the McClellan summation. If you notice this trend line, we're back up at the trend line there. We're reversing off of it at this point. Call in oscillator first. Oh, we'll put them both on. Okay, so here's the oscillator. This is a shorter term. And you see we get negative divergences and then corrections. Here, and getting over here, we had highs. And with making all-time highs going into resistance, very, very weak. Very weak here. Negative divergence. So weak market with the summation, which is the daily close of all of these. Again, we had this peak here. We're peaking there, and with the negative divergence, you see the high here. We have extreme bullish conditions. I mark these. That's why I have it on SPX. And this kind of the bull bear pivot and extreme bearish, where we're in this extreme bull, and now with negative divergence and a sell signal coming out of the extreme bull. We made new highs. We have lower highs here. I think this is a big start of a bear market right here. All right, just wanted to show you that on this. We can go back to SPY. And again, we have these confluence that came to this point here. And we just got back up to that trend line that we have right here. And that's a channel that we drew. Not quite touching it, but that's good enough. So this was our last stop here, and we got above. Now price has to prove itself. Now price has to hold above 180. I talked about in earlier videos possibly going up to 583. We got it up there to almost 584. Now it's got to prove itself above 580. It's got to hold above there with all these negative divergences. On the daily time frame, once again, lower high, and even in this last move, another lower high. This thing is destined to reverse from here. Lower high, once again, on the RSI as well, and in oversold conditions, that's a sell signal. We'll look for the slow stoke for the daily time frame to confirm underneath the 80 mark here. Reversal, same thing. Okay. Negative divergence on all different time frames. DMARC, we have a 913. We have a 913 sell signal. Went up a little bit higher. Again, exhaustion. That's a setup in itself. Bollinger Bands. We're outside of the Bollinger Band. Again, sell signal. It's likely to come back in. That's what that's telling us. It's not done. And we're getting tight here. So price is getting tight. Bollinger Bands are squeezing. We're at the top of the Bollinger Band with I don't have it on here with the RSI. That's a sell signal itself. Some people use the Bollinger Band as a sell signal with that RSI overbought and at the top of the band. That's a sell signal. What else do we want to show you? I guess we could look at the Qs on the daily. But those are just a lot of the indicators that I just want to show there. And the Qs are so important because it's the tail that wags the dog. So we didn't make all-time highs. This is a double top. I don't think we're going to get all-time highs. We have our impulse wave down, and we made an A, B, C correction. Right here, I think this is the top. With the breakage of 494 back under here, we'll be looking at that as confirmation back under. So got our large A, RB, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So initial wave 1 and a large wave 2, and we're looking for an impulsive wave 3 to the downside. So what would that look like in price? We'll go ahead and measure it out now. So right here, if we have a wave 1, take your extension tool and bring it all the way back to wave 2. And just in this real kind of simple basic form, we should hit 370, about 369, 370 as a 1, 2, 3. It doesn't always work that simple, okay? So if we get a 1, 2, and then we get another 1, 2, we'll probably measure that other 1, 2 for that one. Okay, these larger ones can go out all the way to its 160 or its 262% retracement, and we'll have to measure when we have more information. But in a crude way, we should easily hit this 369.60 and further for this wave 3. And it's going to be impulsive. It's the strongest wave of a move. So we'll keep that in mind. We'll, as we do these updates, we do these all the time. So consider hitting the bell, notification bell. When this move initiates, we'll have a larger wave 1, perhaps even a wave 1 that tests the bottom here, and then a sharp 2. And again, then we'll be able to measure that actual wave 3, which should be pretty devastating to the downside. Nothing else to show here. Let's go around the horn on 65. $65 boom, boom. All right, so again, we're looking for another wedge. It bears rising wedge. We're above here. There's a throwover. You can redraw lines a lot. Okay, if we went to the top of both of those here, oops. Okay, so if I took it from this wick to this wick, all the way up, we're right at it. Okay, even better right there. So that could be our wedge. We don't have to put it onto all these positions here. So it's technically in this look, there's no throwover. We're just at resistance right there. So it's one way to look at it. And now on the 65, again, a lower high. We're looking for negative divergence here to play out. We have about even spots here on the RSI, oversold. Or overbought, excuse me. This one way in overbought territory, but we're looking for the sell signal under the 20. So keep an eye on that. And the 65 minute, that will be our first signal that a sell is occurring. Demark, let's see if we see anything here. We have a 9 sell signal here. And then price moved up a little bit higher, but we're seeing exhaustion. 13, 9, 13, 13, the 9. Okay. And for us on a traditional sense, we'll be looking for the break under 580. A break under 580 will be a confirmation on a visual that our move has started. Awesome oscillator. Just again looking weak. You had negative divergence here. No divergence, but overall we have that divergence from peak to peak. But in this time area here, after the correction, we don't have a negative divergence, but we just have a lower high overall from peak to peak. Bollinger Bands, just stretching top of the Bollinger Band. Again, overbought on the RSI and stretching out the Bollinger Band into resistance. That's a sell. That's a sell setup. So on our Elliott wave, Fibonacci's. We're looking for 580 being the top. Got above it. It's a throw over. Our next target, should it want to go a little bit higher from IWM pushing, 586. That could be a minor resistance there. And then we're in the time frame right now. We're in this time little cluster for a top. And then we'll see what happens with the reversals. I'm not going to go ahead in here, and you can count any which way you want, but it does look like a 3-wave move here for a 1, 2, 3, 4. This little 4 here that we got on Friday, and then 5. All right. So without going in there and just kind of nitpicking, it's L8 wave, and different people can count it different ways. You can go 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. It's speculative, but it does look like the structure is near complete, if not complete already. Qs. And Qs, again, a throw over on the 887. Got the reaction off of it, unfinished business from here, and shooting above it. So it's about, this is probably a 94-95% retracement from the top, but we knew it was going to be a deep retracement. So we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave move for a 1, a 5, 3, 5, 4, 2, and then we're looking for big move to the downside. Don't know what the catalyst is going to be. It could be earnings. It could be a combination. It could be the war overseas with Iraq and Iran. Whatever the case, we're getting a reversal candle here. We'll look for confirmation underneath the 494. Breakdown under there would be a fake break from this point. BA starting to move again. BA should start going with the fact that it has to have layoffs. That's bullish actually for stocks when it's forced to lay off employees. So we'll see how that goes. IWM pushing. Problem is with this is that we're back at resistance. So this simply could be a correction. Or if it wants to push higher, it can hold the market up. So, this looks like a breakout back test. But to me, now that everything is pretty much complete, to me, this looks like a impulse move down for 1, an A, B, C correction for 2, and now we're getting a 1, 2. So this is a 1, 2, 1, 2 setup. If IWM starts to get bearish here with perhaps the bank's earnings coming up tomorrow before the bell, this thing could start pushing to the downside and stop holding the market up. SMH. SMH, same thing. We have this wave 1 and now a wave 2. Could be complete here. Different ways you can excuse me. Sorry about that. Different ways we can kind of draw this flag, but just in a sense, oh, look at GME move now. I did not close out my GME positions. Just a heads up. So this has a little bit more room to the upside if it wants to, but it really is in a position where it could have completed. If it wants to go up higher, here's the 265 we were talking about. Didn't think it was going to get up there, but it's just been working its way. All right. So again, a zigzag. Boom, boom. Looking for wave 2 to complete. It's completed either today or just it's bound to have been to be done by tomorrow, perhaps overnight. I thought Friday. I was wrong. But it doesn't change anything. 3-4 points to the upside does not change a thing for my premise. All right. My swings are all the way out to January. So that's, a day being wrong is nothing. don't mind it. All right, this head and shoulder back test right now. We're at gap support for the we had a island gap that's closed now, but this overall gap is not. I doubt we'll close this gap. If IWM wants to continue to push higher, then perhaps we do close this gap, and that will be a back test. We're not waiting for that to happen. We're already in our positions. We're going to add more positions if price decides to go any higher. All right, so that's basically it, you guys. Nothing has really changed from yesterday. I just wanted to show you some breadth indicators, and in positions, you just can't be bullish here. There's nothing bullish about this chart. Everything is in a bullish stance, but you're oversold. Divergences on major time frames, on all time frames. And this thing's going to turn. It's going to turn quick. Okay? And people are going to continue to buy. And I'm here to show you that that's not a likely scenario that we should be looking at. So thanks again. We will talk to you. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe. Thanks for your support. We'll talk to you tomorrow.